We built this platform for stories unfold. Mindset to manuscript, speaking truth bold.
Diverse voices from the street to the stage. Your voice deserves to shake this ground. We coach, we write, we amplify sound.
Mindset to manuscripts on the scene. Now's the time, the place, the dream. Tell your story and get it straight. Mindset to manuscript. Mindset to manuscript. Hosted by JTK.
Thank you everyone for joining this episode of Mindset to Manuscript with JT. Speak your truth. Today, I'm so excited to welcome to this podcast beautiful Senator Britnee Timberlake, New Jersey State. Thank you so much for being here. This is a beautiful, beautiful human being that I have in front of us. She's done some amazing things in the communities throughout New Jersey and beyond. And I'm so excited for her to just speak her truth and share with you, some of the things that have driven her to where she is today, some of the things that she's currently doing, why, what drives her now, and then some things that might be on the agenda for later, some insight, ways to just inspire you as a truth tribe. So welcome. I'm so excited.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So let's start. Want to just have a conversation with you. Just start wherever you feel would be some place that you just want people to understand. Did you wake out one day and just say, I'm going to go into politics? Or was it a gradual step?
Yeah, I had a opportunity to watch service in the lives of my parents. The impact that my father has had on me has been tremendous. He is a retired 82nd Airborne Army paratrooper.
Nice.
And we grew up all over the world.
Wow.
And my father enlisted. Our family is from the New York, New Jersey area. So he was also a basketball player. He played for Bob Hurley in Jersey City. And he ended up going to Uppsala, which is in East Orange, which is where I live and represent. So we traveled the world and I got to see his dedication, right? And his dedication and drive to preserve democracy, right? When you're joining the military, you're signing your name on the line and saying that you'll give your life for country. Yeah. And that's big. Yeah. Not to mention, it's not even for that much money.
Right.
When you think about what soldiers are paid and how soldiers are even struggling and what happens after they get out of the military and the high homeless rates and things. But to have such a person be willing to sacrifice their life for not that much benefit in return. That was impactful. And then my mom, she worked with the physically and mentally challenged population. Okay. And so she started at the Church of the Crossroads in East Orange. And then wherever we were traveling, while my father was on tour at different duty stations, we got to see her work with that population as well. But if I can point to one thing that made me know that I wanted to be a force in the community, we lived in North Carolina. We were stationed at what's called Fort Bragg or Fort Liberty. And next to Fayetteville, there was this place called, it was called Hope Mills Lake.
Okay.
I was in the 3rd grade. And my mom read in the newspaper that the Klan was going to be marching through. And we had spent quite a bit of time at that lake, picnics, just family time. And it was heartbreaking for her to read that was going to occur at a place where her children play. So she unofficially organized the peaceful protest against it. I don't think that she knew that she was an organizer in that moment, and she wasn't trying to be, but she went through the phone book. Remember that? The yellow pages, remember that?
Yes, I remember those.
There was no Google. And she notified as many churches and as possible to let them know that, that that this hate group was coming, and she wanted people to be there to stand against them and not in support of them, right? Because the North Carolina, it's still the South.
Yeah.
And her fear, I think, was that more Southerners would be there in support and wanting to underwrite that type of rhetoric and speech and mindset. So she wanted to offset that, and she did. And she actually brought her children with her.
Wow.
So I had an opportunity, which was burned into my mind, watching them say and do and march the way in which they were, but they singled her out. Because my mother is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Caucasian woman. I'm a Black woman. And my father's African American, and they singled her out for being there with her Black children. And were hollering at her, and I watched her yell back at them. And I thought it was just so powerful in how, one, she organized. And she organized for love, and she organized around right versus wrong. And I thought it was so powerful too, because then she stood up against such a powerful hate group. Yeah. And she didn't care.
Right.
And she just wanted to show us that that was her. So that was the most impactful thing that I saw her do. And I just knew I wanted to be community. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to be able to stand up against things that were wrong. Yeah. And have been asking questions since I was a little girl about why people are homeless, why war occurs, why isn't there peace, why isn't there more love? You know, I would have these deep conversations at the dinner table with my father. Would really mentally jolt with me a lot. And, you know, so I land here in community service and started an affordable housing organization, helped do some organizing work in Montclair. We got affordable housing, which was historically placed in the 4th Ward of Montclair. We expanded on it and got it included in the 2nd Ward too.
Oh, nice.
Because we believe that, you know, housing should be for all and communities should be mixed income. And, you know, it's so... In that organizing work, I was the chairperson for the Montclair NAACP, the housing chairperson. Nice. And also the founder of the Essex Community Land Trust, along with Harold Simon, and who was the longtime publisher of a national publication called Shelter Force. And it was in doing this work from a very genuine space of just wanting to create housing for all and home ownership opportunities too. It's important to say affordable home ownership opportunities. So people have the opportunity to build equity and wealth and all these things. That's when I was approached and asked to run for office.
Nice. Wonderful. And mind you, you've made some historical moves along the way too, right? Because you're one of the youngest, if not the youngest, to be appointed in your role. Am I correct?
Yeah. So I'm the youngest elected state senator in New Jersey. And prior to that, I was in the assembly and was one of the youngest. And prior to that, I was a county commissioner. So I was the president of the commissioner board for Essex County. And at the time, I was the youngest, but also I was the only sitting African-American female at the time. Now, there was Britnee, who was the freeholder president before me. There had been Black women in that role, but at the time throughout the state, I was the only Black woman leading a freeholder board. Okay. And, you know, so I stand on the shoulders of other Black women,
of course,
who have done these things. And one of my biggest influences, who has a path very similar to mine, who got her start in nonprofits and community development too, is the late great Sheila Y. Oliver. And
there's a school named after her.
There is a school named after her, and there's quite a few things named after her. She's an amazing person. Unfortunately, she's passed on and gone on to be with the Lord 2 years ago. And she was the first Black woman to win statewide election in New Jersey when she ran for lieutenant governor. Yes. And she also made history because prior to that, she was the first, as I told you, I led the county commissioner board. That's nothing. Okay. She was the first woman and the first Black woman to lead as the speaker of the General Assembly.
Wow.
So, and for those who may not understand civics and things, right? Because politics doesn't come natural to everyone.
Right.
So the state of New Jersey has the assembly, and they have the Senate, and then there's the governor. Just like our country has the Congress, the Senate, and then the president. So the assembly is New Jersey's version of the Congress.
Okay.
So she was the speaker of New Jersey's Congress, called the State Assembly.
I love that.
And a powerful voice, and like a mother to me.
Wow.
She helped mentor me and guide me through my political career. And New Jersey is at a great loss because she was the social conscience
Right.
of the Democratic Party
Right.
and of the state.
Wow. So, having gone through this beginning stages with your mom and seeing her be the wonderful advocate that she was, knowing that she was also in her own way standing for something, and then watching grow up, and then you had the representative Sheila Oliver, and now all these different things. Where do you see yourself in terms of balancing all of this? Because it's a lot. I mean, you just gave us a nice little tutorial and I'll have to go back and check it and be like, okay, so what's the stages? So, you look beautiful. So how do you keep yourself, balanced? What kind of balance do you give yourself? Do you have a family? How does that work?
Yeah. So I'm a big family person.
Mm-hmm.
I am the mother of 4 boys currently.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 boys in our household: an 18-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Oh my gosh. Wait, say that again.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's like
18, 7, 4, and 2.
Gosh.
Being tired is a perpetual state. Okay, ladies, if you know, you know. And I have happily married to Dimitri Charles, and he is amazing. He and I have been in one another's lives for about 15 years.
Wow.
And have seen each other through different stages. I didn't meet him later. I met him when I was grinding, getting affordable housing in Montclair, right?
Yeah,
like doing that work. And he was doing similar work. Our love story really centers around community development. And he understands my work and what I do. So I think that for me, it starts with a supportive partner. But also, no matter how supportive your partner is, we as women have to remember to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
And I'm not telling you that I do that well every single day, but I do strive to do that well. And just trying to do what I love. Take a minute to, maybe it's to read something that isn't legislation. Maybe it's going to the spa. I love a spa.
Right. Yes, who doesn't?
I mean, yeah. And the beach, just trying to find those little things to rejuvenate myself, right? Because it's the old adage, like you put your own oxygen mask on first, before you can help anyone else. But it's not easy. Also, we have a very supportive village.
That's key. That's very key. Yeah.
Between I have aunts and my brother-in-law, my father, my mother-in-law, the children are at a water park right now with their grandpa, and they think he hung the moon in the sky. So they're so excited. So it's also that family village and this commitment of, okay, we're gonna do whatever we can to support her. My husband is Haitian American, and my mother-in-law, we have a beautiful relationship, but we are quite opposite of one another. She's very traditional woman. And I think there are some times where she sees me do different things where she didn't necessarily know women could. But at the same time, I can tell that she loves and respects what we're doing, because she pitches in and she'll come to help, or to be, or to just sit, or to pray. How about that?
Wow, how about that?
So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So the other thing is that my foundation is the Lord.
Absolutely.
Our foundation, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And that is our foundation, is Jesus Christ. That doesn't mean that we walk around acting like we're perfect, or no, we have friends of all faith, of all walks of life, but that is our foundation and what gives us the strength to continue going on every single day,
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. And so, Talk about some of the things that, you are, you're doing the politics, you have this community service, but let's talk a little bit about some of those things that you do that's not necessarily in politics or community service.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite book that you like to read right now?
Oh boy. Well, you know what? I'm going to shout out my cousin's book.
Okay.
And it's
Nice.
Revelations.
Okay, nice.
So she talks about how it gets greater later, and that it's by Bevy Smith.
Nice.
And she talks about how women, we've got to have the audacity to believe in ourselves and to go after everything it is that we ever hope for and dream for. I don't believe in boundaries that I set for myself as far as my goals. I'm not going to ever say, oh, well, I'm pregnant, I can't have a career, but if that is something that a woman does say, I'm in support of her, because true feminism is doing whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, however you want to do it. Do you want to be married or not? Right? How much money do you want to make or not? Right? So, but for me, as soon as I make up my mind and I want to go after something, that's what I do. And so I really connect with that book, because my cousin is that way very much so. And she talks about how a woman who decides what she will have in life is such a threat to so many other people in the institution that is generally a misogynistic institution. Although she didn't use that term, that's the way I interpret it. And how it can come across to people and make other people feel a bit uncomfortable.
Wow, that's very powerful. So what's the name of that book again?
It's called Revelations by Bevy Smith. I'm very proud of my cousin.
Yay, yes. And I love that you did that, because I've been seeing some things along the way where we get so much support for people that we don't know, more than we tend to get from people that know us quite well. And I love that you are supporting your cousin in that way, because I think that's important for people in general, to support even those that are the closest to them, and not look from the outside in, but you're in it, stay with it, be part of that moment with them.
Totally.
So that's important. So what made you, because you were talking about your family and your background, your father's in basketball. So had you ever played? I was going to get to some of that stuff.
So I rebelled.
We'll get to the politics show, don't worry. But I want to know about Senator Britnee Timberlake is who we have here today. Why not basketball? Or did you ever play?
I did not play. I absolutely rebelled. When I tell you that my family are fanatics, okay? My brother has never had a coworker who wasn't a teammate.
Wow.
Or a boss who wasn't a coach. I mean, except for now, because now he's coaching one of the national teams, and he's retired from playing. But my brother has been playing basketball since he was 2 years old and has never done anything else.
Wow.
My father played for Bob Hurley at St. Anthony's, goes to UPSLA, as I mentioned. My husband, he played full scholarship at Rider. Right. So it's a very big sports family. And I see the athletic genes in the babies. I see it coming through. I mean, especially the 2-year-old, he's been climbing ladders.
That's funny.
Since he was about 9 to 10 months.
Wow.
Not walking upstairs or crawling up, literally
climbing up a ladder.
Okay. And
10 months old.
So I see the athleticism in them for sure. Yeah. As for me, I was an athlete. Okay. And I do enjoy it, but I rebelled against basketball, and I decided to be a swimmer instead. Oh. And I actually placed in high school at one point in time. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow, 50-yard freestyle. Wow. And I was a sprinter. Okay. And so I love swimming. I played a little bit of soccer. Okay, nice. Get middle school and things. And now my little boy, the 7-year-old, loves soccer. Oh, nice. And that's his thing. That's his thing, soccer. Yeah. But see, we pair it though, with balancing. Yes. And one of the things I enjoy about my husband is, although he is so into sports and was a basketball player himself, he's a very balanced man. Mm-hmm. So he's not only about that. Right. Or drilling the children. No, he's plays with them, but now it's time to get on this Kumon. Yes. And let's do this work. Academics. Because we can be a basketball player and an engineer. I love that. Yeah. I love that. That I love a lot, that you can do
in balance if you balance it right. So we're right now talking to Senator Britnee Timberlake, and she represents East Orange.
So I represent East Orange, Bloomfield, Belleville, Nutley, and Glen Ridge.
Thank you. Cities within the state of New Jersey. So we're super happy to be here on Mindset to Manuscript, Speak Your Truth with JT.
JT Kitt, author of the gripping urban fiction Page Turners, Secrets of My Soul and Miracles Pain, invites you into a space where truth takes center stage. Welcome to Mindset to Manuscript with JT, Speak Your Truth, the raw, unfiltered podcast where diverse voices share their stories, their way.
We write, we amplify sound.
Mindset to manuscripts on the scene. Now's the time to place the dream.
Every other week, JT sits down with culture shapers and change makers, diving into topics like literary innovation, legacy building in family-owned enterprises, beauty industry breakthroughs, and transformative leadership in healthcare, to name a few. You'll hear powerful conversations on topics such as identity and image in the fashion world, the art and impact of independent filmmaking, fatherhood advocacy, public policy, the power of music to heal, and breaking barriers in entertainment. Each episode inspires, uplifts, and reminds you your story matters. Your truth is yours, because your manuscript is the vehicle through which you share your journey. Subscribe now and join us every other Tuesday on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and all social media platforms for conversations that move minds and make impact. Mindset to Manuscript with JT, Speak Your Truth, a product of JT Kitt and Associates LLC, delivering stories that inspire and partnerships that empower.
Mindset to manuscript, hosted by JT Kitt.
This episode is really about inspiring the Truth Tribe to just follow their natural path, you know, and find that balance in it. So let's talk about politics a little bit.
Sure.
You start, because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth.
No, it's tumultuous, right?
Yeah.
What we're seeing in our country, I never thought that I would see in my lifetime. Democracy is something that is very important to me, and understanding what democracy is. It's freedom, right? It's freedom to speak. It's the Constitution that lays out all of our rights. The original words that the brilliant forefathers had written in the Constitution, and then the even more beautiful words that were later added to make sure that those original words applied to all people, including us Black people, right? And freedom, and that we are free, that we are not, enslaved. And when I see what's happening at the national level, we'll do national. We'll start national, and then we'll come down with it. Okay. What I see is happening at the national level is very concerning to me, because there is a threat to our Constitution, and the attempt to weaponize judges and to get judges to make different opinions, and they'll judge shop in order to get the opinion that this president wants to have. And I see a very big issue with that. I think our democracy is at stake. I'm very concerned for it, because our country has fought to not only keep our freedoms, but to ensure the freedoms of other people throughout this world who have democracy and elections elected by the people. And all of that is at risk. I mean, I mentioned how my father was in the military, and I remember watching him deploy Saudi Arabia. He led troops across the desert and was there when Saddam, a dictator, lit the oil fields on fire, creating, casualties amongst humans and death and environmental as well. And then he was in Korea and stood on the border of North and South Korea. to protect South Korea from a dictator in North Korea who was trying to roll on South Korea and take their rights, their liberties, and their freedoms. You know, America is, and democracy is like kind of still a new experiment. And I see that it's very fragile right now. And people don't think that it affects them, but it does and it will. You know, having an attitude that no one can speak up against the president, that's dangerous. Dictatorships, people who are vocal and say what's on their mind disappear under dictatorships. And we see what's happening with the deportation of allegedly people who are undocumented, but they've done raids in New Jersey, and some of the people who were detained not only were documented, but had actually served in our U.S. military. You know, so these are dark days I do see that we're living in, and I wish I could wake up citizens to the point where we could all get involved and be vocal to stop this, because one of the major focuses of our founding fathers was that we would not have a king.
Right.
That this was not a monarchy. Right. So, you know, our president is not a king. Right. This is supposed to be a collection of decisions with checks and balances. And all of that is at risk right now. So I would tell people that they have got to register to vote and then go out and vote. And don't hit me with the, oh, our vote doesn't matter, because it does. And that's a very big misconception. Yeah. People need to be exercising that right, especially people that look like us.
Yes. Yes.
Because of what our ancestors went through. So the Legislative Black Caucus, chaired by Shavonda Sumter, we went this past April to Alabama. And we went on what we're calling a pilgrimage. People were saying, oh, well, the Black Caucus is on vacation. We said, we're not on vacation. We are on a pilgrimage. And we walked the steps of our forefathers in the civil rights movement and got to truly understand, not just from what we were reading in text, but we got to understand through the eyes and the mouths of the people who had lived there, who had walked with Dr. King, about how the civil rights movement was and its importance for voter rights. And we also should never be lost on us that this man who was a good person, you know, Dr. King, a vocal advocate for people who didn't have different rights, a man of God, a father, a husband, was shot and killed.
Yes, that part.
So, you know, this nation has a history of this type of violence against our people. And it also has a history of trying to stop the progression of people that look like us. And I do see this new administration as just being one more iteration of that same type of suppression.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So now let's get to the other levels, because there's a lot. And, you know, this is really important. And I'm glad that this is recorded, because you can go back and you can listen and learn and you know, we'll get some information from Senator Timberlake where you can, you know, join some things and follow some things at your own pace and at your own comfort level. But talk about those other levels.
For sure. So let's talk about the state level, right? And how important it is. Right now, New Jersey and Virginia having a gubernatorial election, and how important it is. Because again, going back to that Constitution, a lot of the debate was how much rights should a state have, and where the debate landed was that states would have its own constitution and its own autonomy, and that sure, there would be some national laws that would have to apply to all states, but for the most part, states very much so make up their own individual laws in many areas that affect our lives. I'll give you an example. I was a part of codifying Roe v. Wade. I'm not a person that's like in promoting abortion or anything like that. It's weird when I hear people say abortion rights. I think that's strange. I believe in women's rights and a woman doing whatever the hell she wants to do, whenever she wants to do it, however she wants to do it, in the safety and privacy of her own doctor's office, and also, as mentioned before, in every aspect of our life, even outside, a woman's right to choose does not stop at just a doctor's office and whether or not to have a baby. A woman's right to choose has to apply in all areas. So there was a assemblywoman, Valerie Huddle, who was leading the charge when I first joined. By the way, I was sworn into the assembly while I was 9 months pregnant. And that was before I went to the Senate, right? But so I had an opportunity to be a part of codifying Roe v. Wade. So now when you hear stories about other states and women who are dying because they can't get the access to health care that they need because their state has made it so that they shouldn't be able to have that type of reproductive freedom. When you have people who are women and girls who are forced to have babies that were conceived through rape or incest, right? And we're hearing and reading of these horror stories that are happening in other states. The reason why it's not happening in New Jersey is because we exercise that autonomy that the Constitution gave our states, and we codified Roe v. Wade, and we made sure that there was reproductive rights, right? And that's just one example of how powerful a state can be and why state government matters. Who your governor is. Is your governor going to be in line with what this president administration is calling for? Or is your governor going to be one who pushes back?
Right.
Against a radical agenda that strips away our democracy and our freedom. So, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's heavy.
It is very heavy. And I like that you mentioned that myth about our voice and our vote not mattering, because our vote is our voice.
That's right.
And so if ever you've ever said, I have a voice, then you should not even think twice about voting.
That's right. That's right. And also just the audacity to complain.
Yeah.
And then not vote. Like that's
part,
just always annoyed me. But then again, that's also an American right.
Yeah.
And a beautiful right to have, right?
Yeah. You have the right not to, but then, sit back and take it.
So, yeah. And so we're in a gubernatorial race right now in New Jersey. I'm in support of Mikey Sherrill. And she's running to be governor. She would be the second female elected to be governor if she is successful. Christy Todd Whitman was the first. Okay. And she is a Democrat. And I believe she will hold the line against what some of the national pressure is to infiltrate the states and to strip away certain powers. The other thing about New Jersey that makes it one of the most powerful governorships in the country is that they have the opportunity to choose the attorney general.
Interesting. Okay. Yep. Talk about that. No. So the attorney general is the highest law enforcement official in the state, and has a great deal of influence as to which cases are, to prosecute in different areas. And in New Jersey has the ability to be the independent investigator in the event someone loses their life during interaction with law enforcement. That was one of the very first pieces of legislation that I was successful in passing and implementing. Former Attorney General who was in office while I was working on that law, 2019, 2020, was absolutely against that piece of legislation, and I had to publicly, respectfully tell the highest law enforcement official why he was wrong and why we needed that as Black people to be able to understand what occurred should our loved one lose their life during interaction with law enforcement. And law enforcement needs it to understand that, think twice before your finger pulls that trigger, right? Yeah.
Or the baton comes out from your side, right? So it is something to create a more balanced approach to both community relations with the police department, right? So that ended up passing the assembly by one vote, and the attorney general was in opposition to it. We ended up getting it signed by the governor after a lot of advocacy, Governor Phil Murphy. And then, now the attorney general oversees the independent investigations. But the attorney general right now, Matt Platkin, who I think is doing a wonderful job, is entering lawsuits with other states suing our federal government.
Okay.
for different things that they believe is unconstitutional. So he's standing up and holding the line, putting up the fence basically around New Jersey, saying, we're not gonna fall to this anti-democratic agenda that you have. And so knowing that the governor has the power to appoint who the attorney general is going to be, that's big. So New Jersey, wake up and make sure you're registered to vote, and make sure that in November you cast your vote. And I'm casting my vote for Mikey Sherrill because she's the one that I feel most confidently will actually stand up against what we're seeing coming from the Trump administration and keep the state autonomy.
Wow. I think that this is not only powerful, but I want to make sure that you as Truth Tribe heard that advocacy in terms of dealing with law enforcement and having that accountability to think twice before you pull that trigger.
That's right.
And to think twice before you pull out that baton and that fight against it, and how important that your vote is at many levels. So you may not see them all, but they impact those national, the state, and now we have these local levels and regional levels that are super important. So just be mindful that it's a bigger picture when we have our voice and our vote. But when we're talking about now this local and more regional level, you have your cities that you are focusing on. How does that now impact it even to the smaller scale?
Yeah. So, and the stories that I'm choosing to share today are to show everyone how it's all interconnected, right?
Yeah.
So I mentioned that at the state level, that law passed by one vote. Well, what do I mean by it passed? That means the Assembly and the Senate had to pass this law. The one vote on that bill came from a colleague of mine who was the only, at the time, Orthodox Jewish man in our entire legislature. And I told him, I said, I have Black sons. This could help save their lives. And he promised that he would stand with me if it came down to it, because the prosecutors, the attorney general, people were calling around asking us not to vote for it. So all those people who are receiving those phone calls are voted in office by somebody, and that somebody is you. And that's why it's important. If I could tell you as a voter, what the most important thing that you could do is to look up a person's record, their voting record, and also look at the laws that they introduce or support and the things that they advocate for. And if it doesn't align with you, then go in a different direction. I find that voters oftentimes will just see someone out at the community event and say, oh, well, I know this person, I'm going to vote for them. Well, I've seen people at the community event that I am there with who would not vote for that bill, and in fact argued me down against it on that day. So
can I ask you, how can someone go about locating that information on them?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's the internet, right? Like, I hate to be cliche and say Google. Just Google the people and Google and put in like so-and-so's laws, so-and-so's legislation, and try to see if it's something that is in line. A lot of times the people will have a website. You'll be able to read through it to kind of see what they stand for or what it means or what they believe in, But how all of this interconnects with the local level too is you have your county, and then you have your actual city. So I represent Essex County, and as mentioned before, Essex County has a commissioner board in which I was the president of for 3 years, and they have a county executive. And those bodies work together. So the county parks, Essex County has a very popular zoo called Turtleback Zoo, which people really love, and it's also a revenue generator for the county. And golf courses, county roads, all of these things get decided on. But when I was there as a county commissioner, I wrote 3 major pieces of legislation. One was requiring any bank that the county puts its deposits with to come before the body to tell us what they're doing to reduce foreclosures, to lend to minority businesses, women businesses, veteran businesses, to really understand if they're making an impact in our community. Because if not, why would we put our taxpayer dollars and hold it with that bank, right? So I call it banking power, right?
Yeah.
And we also did something called Clean Jobs, connecting the need to abate brownfields with unemployment and teaching people the lucrative trade of environmental cleanup and things. And we also had one where we required that the county did better performance on government contracts, which is also being debated at the state level. The disparity studies come out. We see that these government contracts have not necessarily benefited minority-run businesses. And why is that? Where is the disconnect? What do we need to do in order to make it so that all people really have an opportunity to apply and to be fairly judged? So we did that while also at the county. And, and then the municipal level, you have your mayor and you have your council,
Right.
And that's everything from the way in which your pools are maintained to your recreation and the local recreation facility that maybe your children go to, or the facility that you don't have that you'd like to have and advocate for. And then who's going to pay for the facility development, right? Now you're going to go you're going to go right back up the ladder because you're going to have to get some state funds, some county dollars, some this, some that to all pour in, the federal money to all pour in. So it all really matters. But some of the most pressing issues right now in the state of New Jersey, I believe everywhere, I've been taking on the energy companies because of the high cost to heat and cool your home and to have lights on.
Right.
And the way in which I see it is that you have major corporations who have monopolies on certain areas. And in June, the utilities bills rose by more than 30%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's for two major reasons, right? And like all the talking points and colleagues will see, they'll start telling you about PJM, which is a regional grid operator. Right. Okay. And talking about how the grid is overextended and we have to, and how AI is going to impact that. And they're delayed on actually doing green energy. And so that's the cause for the 30%. Okay. Yes. And we need to do something about all of that.
Right.
But the thing that a lot of my colleagues are not also talking about, I see it as the elephant in the room. And I say that there's two truths. Two things that could be true at one time. And that's the corporate greed that's exploiting energy users. So to me, PJM isn't the only tumor in a mastatized system. It is just one of many. And the other one is the tentacles of the energy companies. Now, listen, we want a reliable grid. We need energy companies to do what it is that they do. But they petition the rate council, the BPU, to raise rates sometimes several times a year.
Right. Yeah.
And there's no recourse. What are you going to do? What are you going to say? Where are you going to get your energy from?
Right.
It's a monopoly. So they can squeeze households. The fact that the energy bill can be easily the second to third highest bill in a household is a problem. It's a life
You need it.
necessity.
Yeah.
It's no longer a luxury when Edison and them were experimenting.
Right.
Like this is, everything is run off of it. Like from our telephones, our children need it to do their homework.
Yes.
We need it to keep our food and not from spoiling, right? Or to wash our clothes, you know? And they have made it to where the commodity is priced so high that then with this recent PJM increase, it is pushing people over the brink, in addition to inflation and like the cost of groceries. And I mean, it's just terrible. People are being squeezed from all sides. So I have been fighting, and I wrote about 8 pieces of legislation to address these to address this energy crisis and what I'm choosing to attack. And I'm also supporting the pieces of legislation that are addressing the issue with PJM. I'm supporting those, but the issue that I'm attacking is the elephant in the room that no one is talking about, and that is the corporate greed of these energy companies. And why I say corporate greed, right? Like all corporations aren't bad. You know, I'm not one of those people where, you know, anti everything. No. But remember we talked about the levels of government?
Yeah.
The federal government and the state government provides millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to offset the cost of energy for households who cannot afford it. And you know what? We should. We should help people who cannot afford it.
Right.
But this, to me, is where the energy companies are crossing the line.
Right. Okay.
Where they're crossing the line is that they're making and profiting billions off of Wall Street. Mm-hmm. They're raising the rates. They're relying on the government to keep throwing that taxpayer dollars at them to help households afford their overpriced commodity. It's overpriced.
Right.
So that their profit holders, so that their shareholders can make money.
Yeah.
So their shareholders can make a profit.
Yeah.
You see? So I just think that there are some things that should have never been publicly traded. Right. And a life-sustaining commodity such as energy is one of them. Yeah. But it is, and it's very lucrative. They travel the globe and they find investors in this thing, and the investors are banking on them being able to raise the rates. So it's not just PJM. I've been talking about this for a while, but there wasn't a political will to do anything about it.
Right.
Because everybody is friends with whoever represents the big energy company,
those
right?
Palms,
yeah, exactly. Those palms, right? Like, no. And so I'm saying, hey, since we're talking about PJM and this issue of affordability, we need to be addressing the way in which these corporations are structured and how they are able to raise the rates with the approval of the Board of Public Utility as well as the Rate Council. Well, the Rate Council usually fights against them, but they're able to kind of do what they do, all so that Wall Street can profit. And they put very little back into the community. During the pandemic, I asked them to do forgiveness, particularly for our area, which was very hard hit. And it was a drop in the bucket. They ran the numbers and then just decided not to do it. So
it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about billions and billions and billions of dollars. And then they turn off the lights of people who are in the urban area, you know, the single mom, you know, who's looking for the guy who might have the key, you know what I'm saying, to get her lights back on. Like, let's have a real conversation. But the problem is a lot of people who are in office don't even know that aspect of life.
Right. Yeah.
Don't even know that is something that happens.
It's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
And
real.
It's every day.
Every day. Every day. COVID, post, pre, and, you know, beyond.
Yeah.
Senator Britnee Timberlake, I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for just all that you're doing in the community on all of those levels that you talked about. Please continue to watch this episode and the future episodes of Mindset to Manuscript with JT Speak Your Truth. But I know that there's got to be these moments because it's a lot. You know, we talked about balance and we talked about family. Are there some times, you know, just in general, where you just like, just forget it, you know, just, you are exasperated, you know, you're coming across these walls and then you maybe look to the left and look to the right and say, you know, I got to keep going. But are there moments where you're just feeling a little bit against those walls?
Of course. And I think anyone who in this industry who tells you that they're not, they're disingenuous. It's rough. You're fighting sometimes people who you think should be on your side that aren't on your side. You're fighting special interests. You know, we got $15 an hour minimum wage done. That was one of my pieces of legislation. And all of these social justice, economic justice, environmental justice, one of the strongest environmental justice bills in the country, we ended up getting passed during COVID. You know, housing policy, affordable housing and all that. It is a constant fight and it's an exhausting fight. And I do see, it's not lost on me how there are some mentors who I've had who are amazing and have done amazing work and they fought until the end. But there was an end and, you know, many have passed on. So I kind of keep that as a perspective for me I'll go into the war and then I'll come out and take a refresher and then go back because I'm trying my best not to allow it to drain me. But there's so much work and there's so many people who are in need and the people have trusted me to be a voice. I say principles over politics. You know, the politics is all of that ugly stuff that I'm talking about. Oftentimes we have to fight against, you know, the politics of getting a bill passed, the politics of, you know, the community and who's going to be an elected voice and all of that, right? But having the ability to go back to the foundation, go back to Christ who gives me strength, going back to my husband and my family at the end of the night and keeping it in perspective. You know, I mentioned to you Sheila Y. Oliver. Well, she said something to me that blew my little 20-something-year-old mind at the time. And that was that she said, Britnee, this is only 10% of my life. And I thought to myself, because this woman is a giant, and she did so much good to help people, particularly disadvantaged people. And for her to say that it was only 10% of her life, she was trying to tell me that I need to put things into perspective and do the work-life balance and not let it drain me to the point where I'm in the grave, right?
And I love that you said that, because if you're talking to our Truth Tribe, right, and we have people, maybe they're in other areas of community service, maybe not doing exactly the same thing, but they're balancing that. They could be married, not married, single, at different stages, just trying to even decide if this is what they want to do. If you had one moment of truth, I guess, to kind of share directly with the Truth Tribe and those of our listeners and audiences, what would that moment of truth be to say to them, inspiring them in some way?
The moment of truth, I would say, is it's hard, but don't stop pressing forward. So if you're going to fall forward and don't give up.
I love that. If you're going to fall forward and don't give up. Yeah.
And do what's right. You know, I told you about that attorney general who was against that piece of legislation. After the unfortunate death of George Floyd, he personally called me to apologize.
Wow.
Do what's right, not only what feels comfortable. A lot of times in these situations of moral dilemma, what feels comfortable isn't what's right.
I love that. I think that this is something that we can definitely hold in the books. This is a very important conversation. How can people reach out to you, Senator Timberlake, and, you know, follow what's going on, learn more about what you talked about? Give us some information.
For sure. Yeah. So please hit me up. I'm on social media. I spell my name a bit different. It's Britnee, Timberlake. It's two pop stars' names put together. Maybe they should have been married. That was a total millennial moment there. Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake, right? Yes. So go to BritneeTimberlake.com and you can read about me. You can donate to my campaign, because the other thing is women, and particularly Black women, lag behind in fundraising. So we've got to also condition ourselves to start to donate to people that we believe in and know are doing the right thing by people. You can find all access and links to what it is that I'm doing at that website, and then hit me up on social, on Instagram, Britnee Timberlake, and Facebook. I'm there. And if you need something, if you're in New Jersey, reach out to my office. I'm not hard to find at all.
Awesome. This is amazing. Thank you so much for
JT.
joining. Very welcome. You've been watching Senator Britnee Timberlake, and this is Mindset to Manuscript with JT. Speak Your Truth. Please be sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage. You know, I want to hear your comments on how you're feeling about certain episodes, and continue to share this across Spotify, YouTube, IG, TikTok, and the list goes on. Facebook, of course. And stay tuned for the upcoming episodes, because we have so much more icons like today. So thank you so much, Senator Timberlake, for joining.
Thank you. Yay. I'm so happy to be here and so proud of you. This is amazing.
Thank you. See you the next episode. Bye-bye.
Like them lights and storms all around, but I'm rooted in Jesus. I can't be drowned. When I got no signal, my spirit's still strong. He's the Wi-Fi connection that never goes wrong. The rock I stand on, solid and true. Ordering my steps in everything I do. Grace and mercy pouring, love overflowed. Dr. J. Anderson Cole, let the message be known. I'm rooted, I'm anchored in His name. Jesus lifts me higher every day, like a lightning. But I still remain standing on a rock that will never sway. We built this platform for stories unfold. Mindset to manuscript, speaking truth bold.
Diverse voices from the street to the stage. Your voice deserves to shake this ground. We coach, we write, we amplify sound.
Mindset to manuscripts on the scene. Now's the time, the place, the dream. Tell your story and get it straight. Mindset to manuscript. Mindset to Manuscript, hosted by JT Key.
Like in life and storms all around, but I'm rooted in Jesus. I can't be drowned. When I got no signal, my spirit's still strong. He's a Wi-Fi connection that never goes wrong. The rock I stand on, solid and true. Ordering my steps in everything I do. Grace and mercy pouring, love overflowed. Dr. J. Anderson Cole, let the message be known. I'm rooted, I make it in His name. Jesus lifts me higher every day like in lightning, but I still remain.